grab your bestie and a beach house to die at.
That's good.
Today we're going over the 1988 Gary Marshall film and musical Beaches. So today our guest name is Hayden, who I know from very, very long ago.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is my first podcast, so bear with me. I haven't done anything like this before, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for coming on. It's nice to meet you.
We did all go. We had a murder mystery party that I hosted together.
Oh, yes. I did meet you there. It's been like 2 years.
That's right. I remember you saying that, Lindsey. I was like, which person? I can't remember. I met like 20 people that night.
Yeah, same. I didn't know anyone there but Lindsey, so.
Yeah, I knew Lindsey and Kate, and I think that was it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we walked in completely blind.
Yeah, that party was interesting.
Listen, I had a great time. We love to give our guests a little intro here as far as what you're into and why you wanted to talk about this movie.
It's hard because all male directors now are weirdos, so it's I can't.
Isn't it hard? It is. It's hard to be a female cinephile and not accidentally stand a rapist or a pedophile or a racist.
Something has come up in their past, but I would say past aside, I really love Tim Burton movies.
Oh, yeah,
things
me too.
The Corpse Bride. Also, one of my favorite movies actually from Lenka, Coraline. I know it's kind of basic, but I swear I loved this movie before it was everyone was getting tattoos of buttons.
It's okay. It's okay. We will never make fun of people for loving things here. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate
it is a great movie. I love Coraline too. That's one of my fafavorite animated movies.
Didn't something just come out about the person who wrote that?
Oh God, please, yes. Neil Gaiman, the writer of the story. Yeah.
He's a weirdo.
Also
He's
a rapist. Yes.
Big
oh my
weirdo,
God.
Yeah. Or I guess it's more so we're finally discovering how gross all the male directors are. Or
that's what they say, Holly weird. It's just everything is off.
I know. Every time I list someone as my favorite, I flinch. I'm like, oh God.
What did they what did they do?
Did they do anything? I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
But yeah. What are some other favorite movies of yours or favorite genres? What do you, when you sit down to watch a movie, what are you into? What are you looking for?
I think it just depends. I think I it sounds basic, but I love all movies. Even yesterday I was watching the most the movie was by a Wattpad story, and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so bad, and I was so into it. But then I like movies like murder mysteries. I don't really love action, but I would say just movies that have some type of twist in it. Movie like The Barbarian, movies like that I'm really into.
Fun.
Something with a little twist at the end I really like.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't seen Barbarian because it looks a little scary, but I love suspense. I love a twist.
I think that's the word.
I saw that.
Did you?
The Barbarian? Is that the Airbnb one?
Yes.
Yes.
And something was under the basement.
House.
Yes, that was good. That's
hell no. Hell no. I listened to a podcast where they told the whole plot of the movie, so I won't freak out when I do see it because I already know what's gonna happen, and I really needed that because I'm so stressed out when I watch horror movies. I can't deal.
I like that, especially in something I never really realized, but the theater experience is something different than watching at home, and the intense music and even experiencing it with other people. I'm just my heart is beating. Just something about that just really makes me excited. I really like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I saw it. That's how I see most movies, but I felt like the theatrical experience was really enhanced by Nosferatu most recently.
Yes, I love Nosferatu.
Oh my God, my heart was pounding out of my chest. That was a stressful. That was another stressful viewing
2-hour experience.
But yeah, that was a 2-hour panic attack. But it was so beautiful. And I'm also a Tim Burton kid. He was my favorite director when I was growing up. until probably about high school, and I love visually like striking kind of
Mhm.
movies. I think that tends to be what I go for first as well. Like, give me visuals, give me something exciting, usually sci-fi or action. I love thrillers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's some of my favorites.
Nosferatu is Tim Burton?
No, but visually, I'm saying it has,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's very, very similar to how
Kinda
he would
like
shoot, like
dark,
his, yeah,
dreary kind of,
yes,
but very
yeah,
detailed. I really loved Nosferatu was relatively long, but I really loved, like, the costuming and the way they filmed it. Everything was really beautiful. It was
the
really nice to
costumes
look
were
at.
beautiful. Yeah, agreed, agreed. Um,
Okay, I feel like we should get into beaches. We're veering too off track.
yeah,
This is
you're right.
this is not
So,
the beaches vibe.
It is a little dark. Yeah, so I recommended Beaches. We watched Beaches. It's one of my really I watched this movie. So, little backstory. During the summer, my mom obviously was working, so she would like pawn me off to different family members. And so for 1 week, I would go with my grandma and we would watch movies. She had like a basement downstairs and we would watch like old movies and eat like ices. And that's just one big memory in my head, like of just my childhood. And Beaches, I watched and I fell in love with it and I would watch it like every summer. And so yeah, that's it just really spoke to me. This movie is just really personal to me. I never really obviously being young, just something about a female experience going through life, I guess just really spoke to me.
yeah,
Um
this is one of the first big movies I remember watching with my grandmother as well,
oh,
actually, when I was growing up. So when I saw that in the notes, I was like, "Oh man, this is like I feel like this is like a mom classic, like a granny
yes.
classic. Like this is like a big womanhood movie."
Mhm.
Lindsay, do you want to get into what Beaches is about and who's in it?
Yeah. So, Beaches is about two girls that meet in Atlantic City on the boardwalk, and they're both 11 years old. One's a poor Jewish girl from the Bronx, and the other is a wealthy San Francisco suburban wasp. Uh, they stay in touch until their early 20s, and then they become roommates. And the rest of the movie is basically the evolution of their lives and their relationships and lots of connection through life and death.
Perfect. Well done. And who is in this movie?
So, Beaches, directed by Gary Marshall, stars Bette Midler as Cece Bloom, Barbara Hershey as Hillary Whitney, and John Hurd as John Pierce. The children that play both of the girls are played by Mayim Bialik and Marcy Leeds, based on the 1985 book by Iris Rainier Dart.
Perfect. Okay, so what do you think the overall theme of this movie is? For me, I put everlasting friendship. And actually, when I was looking up some facts about this movie on Wikipedia, there's like 10 different languages that the title is in. It's not beaches in pretty much any other language except English. So the Spanish title of this movie translates to Eternally Friends, which I was
That's
like,
so
oh,
cute.
yeah. I was like, that's perfect for this movie. But yeah, some of the foreign language translations were they basically say the theme of the movie. What about you, Hayden? What were some themes that you were picking up on or that you loved throughout this movie?
Some of the main themes I noticed, especially watching as an adult, I guess I'm an adult, were just how like friendships change. It's very interesting to see how like different stages and like especially like when they were in their 20s, I kind of wrote a little bit about that, but like we're very insecure and like trying to figure out ourselves and we constantly compare ourselves to others. And like I really noticed that in the way like they were kind of like that arguing scene when they were kind of or not, yeah, they were in the Cece was considered like new money and they were going in the jewelry area and they were kind of just like going back and forth a
Oh,
little bit.
yeah.
that
There's a
really
lot of arguments
they do, which I
in the
mean that I
movie.
guess that's kind of life, right? You argue with your partner, you argue with your people close to you, especially people that you talk to consistently. You're going to have some type of disconnect a little bit, but that really spoke to me, like just, comparing yourself to others, and they both were in decent spaces in their lives, yet they still were very kind of like looking at each other like she has something I don't, and vice versa. So just like I don't know, to me the main themes were like just the ups and downs of relationships and how you have to forgive people and things of that nature. I felt like a little bit going into it, but I think Cece was a little bit more forgiving than the average friend should have been. But that's a
Yeah.
little.
I agree. I have some thoughts on that later.
But yeah, it was. I think that's just the main thing of like trials and tribulations of friendships and just relationships in general, and how you have to how to navigate it. Yeah.
Yeah, the theme for me also like going on with friendship, but just like the phases of life in a friendship
Yeah.
and like just how they met when they were little girls and just the entire evolution of their life. And as they also got closer, like the conflict that would arise with them, like outside of writing letters to each other.
So Hayden went through her history with it and her attachment with it. What's yours, Lindsay? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I've also seen this a lot when I was younger, but it was a
Oh.
library. It was a library movie for me. I would rent it at the library a lot.
And do you know how old you were the first time you saw it?
I guess I would have probably had to have been like 11.
So
Yeah.
the age of the characters when they meet.
Oh.
Yeah. You mentioned that. I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that."
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, it's like one of the first things I noticed.
When they were 11, that's not how I felt when I was 11. That's very interesting.
I also feel like they were two, like, which is the point of the movie. They were two opposite. They were very distinctly opposite. So, like, I feel like we were all somewhere in the middle because obviously I'm not some rich lady and I'm obviously not a Jewish woman from New
Mhm.
York or New Jersey. So it's like they were very two distinct characters, kind of like on the opposite ends of the spectrum. And I feel like we all fit in the middle. But that is interesting. I thought I was like, cool. I'm like, oh yeah, like we should watch Beaches. And it's like, people haven't seen this movie. Apparently, every woman has seen this movie in their young age. And
Absolutely.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I thought this was like some special movie to me, but obviously it
Okay,
connected to so many other people.
that's exactly how I felt too. Like, when I would watch it when I was younger, it truly feels like you're the only person on earth, like, experiencing it in that moment.
Especially because it's like relatively older. So it's like, oh, like, I'm so cool watching this old movie and no one else is into it. But little do you
Oh
know, it's
man.
like probably one of Bette Midler's most popular movies, other than um
First Wives Club.
and what's the movie when she's a witch? It's blinking.
Oh,
Oh,
Hocus
duh.
Hocus
Hocus
Pocus.
Pocus,
Pocus.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God. Wow. See, that's how you know I go to First Wives Clubs and not Hocus Pocus. Yeah, so I love that we have all seen this. We've all seen this as girls. I think the first time I saw it was I was younger. I was probably like 4 or
Oh
5
wow.
when I saw this. I lived with my grandmother until I was 8 or 9. We definitely used to watch this a lot when I was really little. This movie came out the year I was born.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, this was a big VHS watch in my household. And growing up, it was me, my mom, and my grandmother, all women household. And we would watch this movie a lot.
Aw, that's
Yeah,
so cute.
yeah, and I was also a big fan of this is before y'all's time, the show Blossom.
I've heard
Like,
of it.
okay.
Yes. It was like a Nickelodeon show, right?
I think it was on regular cable. It was like ABC, NBC, something like that. I don't remember
Uh
what network it was on, but yes, this is a late 80s, early 90s show starring Mayim Bialik, the little
mm.
Cece. Yes,
Oh.
she was the star of her own like sitcom. And I was like obsessed with Blossom, and she wore all these like crazy kooky hats. She was basically the like brunette version of Clarissa Explains It All, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, so it was like around that time period. Yeah, so it sounds like we all have the overall theme of just womanhood and the evolution of relationships as you age and change. Watching this movie, I guess I didn't notice it as much when I was a kid, and I haven't seen this in probably about 25 years, but I was really struck this time by the class divide within their
Mm.
friendship. It's intense. Like the way that Hillary goes throughout her life versus the way that Cece has to navigate her life was just so stark. And as much as people don't want to admit it or pretend like it's not somehow factoring into their relationships, when you have a huge class divide in a close friendship, there's always going to be a gap there as far as your experience. Um, it affects weddings, vacations, parties, your hobbies, how you raise your children, if you have childcare, what schools they go to, what neighborhoods you live in. Like that's something that factors into your friendships a lot and your relationships. And an example that jumped out to me immediately was Cece wanted so badly. She's a performer, she's a natural. She's like one of the most talented kids ever. And she wants to go to Juilliard, the School of the Performing Arts in New York City. And she can't. She can't afford it. And Hillary, who doesn't want to do anything and except help people, um, she ended up at Stanford Law School, which is the number one law school in the country,
Hmm.
and worked at the ACLU. And there's just such a difference I found in their levels of ambition and their goals and where they both ended up because Cece had to work so hard and fight so much to just get a foot in the door, and Hillary had everything just at the drop of a hat, and I felt like she kind of took it for granted a lot. How do you feel about that?
The when you talk about class divide, that yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. There's so many instances, and I don't know if it's just because of like how tied like beauty was to money back then, but they would like act so much like Cece wasn't just as beautiful as Hillary, and it made absolutely no sense to me. But then also like in each of their relationships, like how elevated Hillary always was for some reason. It was so weird to me.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. Like everyone was just obsessed with Hillary. It was
Yeah.
very interesting. I would say too, I think not that being rich is hard, but I do think she had, like she said, like kind of like expectations for herself. And I think being being in her position, it was kind of like a funnel. Like you're going to go to law school, you're going to be a lawyer, and you're going to continue making, good money, and then it just passes on from family to family. However, I think because Cece had no expectations for herself, she was able to like be herself, find her genuine interest, which she found was like performing. And like actually she had nothing to lose. So it's like she was able to actually go with her goals and be like her authentic self. And I think that's what Hillary admired about her, was that she had no, expectations. So she was just doing what she felt was best for her. And I think she admired that. I think they admired things about each other, but I think Hillary really loved that about Cece.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up. They both were lacking something that the other had.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't want to make it seem like Hillary had it easy. Obviously, she didn't because she had money, but it was just the ease of
Oh
access
yeah.
to resources, and just she didn't have to fight as hard to really get anywhere.
Hmm.
And but also, like you said, she had no control over her life, and you see that manifest in such a sad way when she's like out and about in the world, and in her first marriage and whatnot. But I'm sure we'll get into all that later. Yeah, I think something else that jumped out to me, something else that I wanted to connect it to this movie is themes that I found in movies that we've already covered, Lindsay. So I put that Cece has the ambition and it's the same location as Cheetah Girls. So
Oh,
there's that
wow.
part of, yep. Then the acts of service and how they look out for each other and how that manifests reminded me of Ponyo. And then
Aw.
yep, and then the female friendship aspect of it and how marriage and children and all of that changes your relationships with your female friends. I think the biggest example of that was Pride and Prejudice for me. So I just wanted to connect those dots and yeah, we
It's
have
so
a solid theme we're going
Yeah,
on here.
it's so funny how, like, that theme isn't only coming from us, it's, like, our guests too.
Yeah, pretty much every time we ask somebody to come on and we ask them what movie do you want to cover, it always fits basically into one of those three
Hmm.
themes. Yeah, especially female friendship. We've been doing a lot
Mhm.
of those, which I love.
Yeah,
I love hearing from
I
other
love
women
it.
about their that experience and what kind of movies they see themselves in.
Yeah, everyone has such good things to say too, like, it's like, wow, it's such, like, something to think about.
Thank you.
To get into more of my theme, it was really interesting also talking about the class divide of, like, how we would be watching Cece's life growing up, and then it would, like, jump over to Hillary's life, like, walking through Harvard, and then Cece just in the Bronx trying to get noticed, and um, all while they were talking to each other over letters. And when they moved in with each other and really got to, like, be close outside of that, then conflict started to happen. And I guess just the phase of getting close to the people that you care about and how much, like, conflict can come from that.
Yeah, absolutely. The roommate part, I felt like the roommate part was so cute. It's like the ideal, when you think like, oh, I'm gonna move in with my best friend, it's gonna be so great. Like, and it was great for like a while. I felt like I love the scene where they're singing Christmas carols to each other and just how
Yeah, that scene is so cute.
so
And
cute.
I think Hillary was just so happy to, like, have Cece and get to sing with her. Yeah, I love that scene.
Also, I think she was just being released from like the shackles of her family. So she's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is amazing. Like, I get to experience what right life really is. Almost like she was like low key cosplaying as like a poor person. And I think she kind of enjoyed it a little bit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
She's like,
Yeah, because
oh,
Cece's constantly apologizing for her living situation because they live in this like tiny one bedroom like flat. I don't even think they had any walls or any
right.
kind of
It
divide
was
in that.
studio, very studio. Mm-hmm.
Very studio, very tiny, like maybe the size of my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just crazy to see them living on top of each other like that and not driving each other crazy. But I think you're right to point that out, Hayden. Like there's part of Hillary, like sheltered rich white girl who's probably like, oh my God, aren't I so like artsy and like chic and cool now because I live in this like rundown New York apartment. And trust me, as someone who was up there at that time, there's a lot of Hillarys running around
Mm,
Brooklyn, pretending to not have like millionaire families and
mm-hmm.
Ivy League educations.
And I think too, I would say it was like a big sleepover for her too. I would say it was like I get to stay
Yeah.
with my best friend and we get to take on the city all by ourselves. And it was like kind of like I think that's what she enjoyed as well.
Hmm. And then she just jumped back to her very rich life when she
Once
had to
she
go take care of her dad.
hmm and she just fell back into place. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she got married to that freaking douche. I
So
hated that.
can we talk about
Lawyer
this like
douche.
weird love triangle? Like that was the most like looking back at it now, I'm like that is so weird. And even if it's like not about the dude or whatever, it's like just disrespectful in general. Like I don't know, the whole thing was weird. I mean, I guess Cece never had claim to him because he wasn't really interested. But I think kind of going back to what Lindsey was saying, like they tried to make her into this character that was like it was like she was confident on the stage, but internally she had like internal conflicts of feeling insecure. And like to marry a guy that your best friend has had like intimate relationships with was like very strange. But they tried to force this insecure attitude on her. And because like her character is very outgoing, life of the party, very want to be the center of attention, it's kind of strange that relationship wise she would be the type of person to be like, I'll just take my best friend's like second. You would think that she would be more, I don't want that. So it's like interesting to see her romantically being like, I'll just take whatever I can get, it felt like.
Yeah, I wasn't sure like how much she actually liked, what was the guy's name?
John.
John. Yeah, because like when they first met, honestly, Hillary kind of like came up and cock blocked Cece.
Yeah.
But John was kind of already into Hillary for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't know. It was really messy. What do you think, Hayden? Do you think that John, or like, do you think that Cece loved John, or do you think she kind of just wanted to? I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird. Like obtain him.
It's a hard question. I think because remember they met when she was doing that singogram, I guess that's what you could call it. But I think kind of a little bit of jealousy, but I do think she liked him. I mean, they had the same interests. I think like on paper they were a good match. Like they had the same interests in acting and performance. And I think Cece could see herself with him, but I think it was a little bit of like jealousy that made her want him more.
Yeah, I have similar thoughts. I feel like there's Cece, and unfortunately, I've been in situations like this before in past friendships where Cece is like that fake confident,
Yeah.
and it really manifested itself when they were presented with like a cute guy who even had a little bit of interest in Cece. As soon as he turns his attention to Hillary, it's like, oh, well, now I have to have him
Mhm.
because he wants Hillary. And I felt like her insecurity was definitely feeding her pursuit of John. I think she did ultimately really like and care about him because they were great. I One of my favorite parts of their relationship was the way they worked together as like colleagues in the theater, as John as her like director. I felt like John and Cece had a lot of chemistry there and a lot of like you said, similar interests and similar outlook on life, on the work, on their art. I love that part of their relationship, but the rest of it did feel like Cece had something to prove,
Mhm.
like she was just looking for whatever guy would like validate her basically. And it is a little weird to so actively pursue your friend. I mean, someone your friend hooked up with like that. I don't know. That was a little weird for CC.
The
It's a bummer the way like insecurity can like eat you up like that.
the part where like Cece finally kind of seemed to have the life that she wanted and she had John, and I guess like the route she felt she needed to take being a performer, but then like not really having John be like his own individual because he didn't necessarily want that life.
Mhm.
Yeah, he became just like the dog. I love the parallel with the dog. He became kind of her accessory,
Mhm.
kind
Mm-hmm.
of her pet once she really hit it big and started making good money. He was just like this guy in her house who was there to basically like clean up after her and like take care of their dog and stuff. Like she and her mother like points it out later on, but she couldn't let him be his own person, and like give people space to have their own experiences. she needed that validation and that attention and that constant like interface with the people in her life. Um, and I think she grew out of it. She really took her mother's advice to heart, and it was really nice to see someone be confronted in that way and actually change and like change their actions. And I'm not saying Cece's the only one who had problems and things they need to fix. It's just something that I noticed first was that scene with her mother when she's like, you swallow up all the energy in the room every time you're in a room, and and you want so much attention all the time from everybody, but you don't give it to those
Mm,
people, and you don't see how being in any kind of relationship with you is suffocating. Um, and I think that's when her and Hillary started to have like big problems in their friendship as well.
Do you think maybe like Hillary growing up being someone who was constantly being given lots of attention and all eyes on her, and then really liking a relationship with Cece because Cece needed that attention because she wasn't getting
Ooh,
it?
ooh, maybe. Yeah, that's a really good point.
I don't even know if um I don't even know if Hillary was very much like had that much attention, but I think that she had connections other ways that like attention wasn't super important to her. And because Cece literally didn't was always fighting for that attention, she was confident in herself to give her the spotlight. Like she felt like this is fun, like we're having a good time. And then in
Mm.
Cece's eyes, it's like someone's paying attention to me. I also do think that the way her mom spoke to her on the beach when she had like that heart to heart was like to me it was like kind of harsh, but maybe I'm just sensitive. But the way the way you put it, Marquita, like that was like perfect. Like you can't because you it was like I don't know, it like clicked in my brain, but like the way her mom said it was like, dang, like that was a little harsh. But I guess her being her mom for all these years, it like she's like, come on,
It's
girl.
the New York in me. It's
Maybe that's what it
that's
is.
that's how someone who you love and who cares for you, it's a cliche, but it is very like tough love there.
Mm,
Like I'm gonna tell you about yourself, and my delivery might not be the nicest, but I'm doing it because I care,
yeah.
and you need to hear this. And yeah, her mom. See, that's so funny. It didn't even read as harsh at all to me. I'm just like, I mean, yeah, but that's also how my mom and my sister would talk to me.
Very like straight to the point. Did you find that, Lindsay? Did you think it was like a little harsh, or were you like, well, this makes sense?
It was definitely what Cece needed to hear, but it was interesting, like, because these behaviors that Cece picked up, where did they come from? Like
Hmm.
the need to have all the attention? Like,
Yeah, I think it's the child star thing. I think it's the fact that when we open this movie, she's, in this she's in like a sequin getup about to perform, audition for this stage company in Atlantic City. Like she's already like I'm a star, and she's like 11, and she's like very much like center of the show. Her mom is basically just running behind her like trying to get her auditions and stuff. I think it is a little bit of a chicken or the egg situation with Cece's behavior. Like, is she like this because she was a child star and because she's so ambitious and because of her mother, or is she like this because she was lacking something from her mother and her childhood experience? I think it's kind of both.
yeah, because the way she would speak to her mom when she was a child actor or star, it
Crazy.
was, yeah,
I would get my ass beat.
crazy.
Crazy. I was like, how are you talking to this woman?
Yeah, she didn't have her dad around.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever really addressed that, do they, Hayden? Where it's like they never talk about like the fact that Cece doesn't have a father.
No.
But I mean, that could also play into why she acted the way she did later on with John and like getting male attention.
True.
Damn, I never thought of that.
We don't. Did we
Um,
see anything about Hillary's? I know we like talked about Hillary's dad. Her mom. Did she die? Was it?
Yeah, her mom died when she was young.
Okay.
So Cece was missing a father and Hillary was missing a mother.
But Hillary had her aunt. I mean, granted, was she the most probably amazing, female figure, motherly figure?
Maybe not.
No. But she did have I guess both like pseudo parents relatively, so.
Yeah, but it is interesting to kind of dive into their childhood a little more and the where like what their familial structure was like, because I think it does very much reflect in their relationship with each other. So I love that we took a deep dive on that.
So, Hayden, what were some of your favorite scenes?
Yeah, I think I spoke a little bit about it earlier, but I don't know, to me, like, one of my favorite scenes is, like, experiencing oh, well, I have a few. I guess in the beginning or the middle when we were talking about earlier, like, the conflict, like, them, like, going back and forth in the jewelry area, kinda, like, just kind of being this is the first time I feel like they were really, like, real with each other, giving each other, like, "This is how I really feel about you," kinda thing, and I kind of enjoyed that part. Another part too was, towards end spoiler alert, I guess, when Hillary dies and her daughter's like, "Can my cat come too?" Like, I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
that just broke me. I was like, "Oh, of course your cat can come." Like, I don't know, it just made me, like, really emotional in that moment. It's like, I guess as a kid, it's like she's experiencing so much, and, like, that's the first thing on her head is like, "Well, can I bring my cat? Like, is that okay?" And I felt like that was really special.
I just have to say, all three of us have cats, which
Yes.
is so cute.
Yeah, we are all cat mothers. I was just gonna say I have it later on, but I guess I can say it now. There's something, I don't know if any of your friends have kids that are a little older yet. And probably not, because there's it's like 10 years between us, 11 years. But what's been so fun and interesting about like this phase of my life is seeing all my friends' children that look just like them, act just like them, and like seeing so much of my friends and like the women that I love like in the next generation. It's so beautiful. It's such a fulfilling part of having like an adult friendship or a long-standing friendship, because it's like I knew your mother when we were like teenagers, and now I'm looking at you and I can see, that old version of her in you. And it's a really underrated, I think under discussed part of like womanhood and female friendships is kids, like seeing your friends in your kids or in their children. It's so funny and really special. So yeah, Victoria is just a tiny little sassier version of Hillary.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, we'll get
I
into
thought
this
they
later,
really, yeah, I thought they really
but
nailed that part of the story and that casting too.
Victoria is my favorite character, but
Really?
we'll get into that. Yeah. Marquita, do you have any more scenes you want to talk about here?
Oh yeah, of course. We I almost said it. I'm not gonna say it. All right, I'm
Oh,
gonna say it. We've
say
gotten
it.
this far in the podcast, and we so Lindsey has pointed out, much to my chagrin and mortification, that every episode we've done, Hayden, I say, like, I'll get like an hour into an episode and be like, "Oh my god, we've gotten this far into the podcast and we haven't talked about XYZ." Um,
Every single episode. It's so funny. It's like a little when I'm editing, like a little Easter egg that I get to wait for.
It's
it's
just like in your
every
repertoire, like, you just say it. You're just like
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
so embarrassing. But this is that moment in the show. We've gotten so far into the show and we haven't talked about the glory of love scene,
That's
the
true.
meet cute between the two girls, the very first time that Hillary gets to see Cece perform all those years ago in Atlantic City. Oh god, I love that scene. Um it sets up both of their characters so well, and how Hillary is more like timid and like in awe of Cece, and Cece's like this powerhouse, big, loud, like confident performer and beautiful singer, and Hillary's like, holy shit, like this girl is so cool. uh it lives rent free in my head. I love that scene, and I know the both of you had mentioned it in the notes as well, if you wanted to speak on it.
This is gonna make me cry, but I just thought about how in the beginning Hillary is so like infatuated with like the glory of love, and then at the very ending Victoria is the same exact way. Like at
Mm,
the very ending, it's like truly a back and forth of like mother to daughter to
that is
Cece.
crazy. I didn't even notice that.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, that I don't know. It's kind of funny too. She's like, she just walks in her hands. Like, who cares about this girl? And she like comes out and like belts on this on the stage. And I think too, like once like Lindsay, it's still that same thing of like them trying to like downplay her attractiveness or how like beautiful she is. Like even then, like they'd
Yeah.
see this girl with pigtails, and I guess it's more of like a well kept. I guess they looked relatively like not that she wasn't clean, of course, but the way they did her hair, and even Hillary, the way they did their hair, they looked very put together, and like even the two guys are like looking at each other like, oh, this is it, she's the girl, but it's like she's not. I guess they didn't see the actual talent in her, and I think and maybe that's a common theme that like Cece is like, can you guys not see me like as I am as like an amazing talent, and no one else could see it. I think really, but Hillary and maybe her mom and maybe Cece's mom, but Hillary.
Yes, absolutely. That's such a great point. I think expanding on that, I also feel like John saw that in
Yeah,
Cece. He he really, I mean, when they first meet, when she does her little singing telegram thing, he immediately is like,
he is. Yeah,
you need to come
captivated.
audition for me. Yeah, you need to come perform for me. John sees that same thing in her that Hillary and her mother always saw in her. And I think that's why, even back at that point, even though he was kind of going more after Hillary, I think my read on that scene is there was still a part of him that fell for Cece first and
Yeah.
had that immediate like spark and attraction, and like he was like bewildered by her, he was like you said, just captivated, infatuated. Infatuated is a good way to put it. um I love that John saw that in her too, and even though, spoiler again, they do end up breaking up, that love is still there and that admiration is still there, and they stayed friends. And I feel like that's not something you see a lot played out in like romantic relationships on screen. It's always these big dramatic, divorces and streaming matches and, you're dead to me, that kind of thing. But I feel like John and Cece's breakup, it just felt much more realistic to me, as far as like, I mean, I still love you. Like you're still my friend. I still care about you. I still admire you. I still want the best for you. And there's like not this lingering animosity between the two of them as they split up and age and move on with their lives. Um but yeah, I think just adding to that, John saw something really special in CC, and he was right. So yeah. What about you, Lindsay?
I could definitely see John and Cece getting back together when they would get very old, like after Cece's done with her performing.
I kind of felt that too. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
just wishful thinking on my part, but I definitely, like
I
I
think I'm
said, they
just too
ended it.
much of a romantic to like not
Yeah,
want them to be
I
together.
know. I'm like, oh, maybe one day they'll get back together and
Yeah.
and raise Victoria.
Oh my
Can I
god.
just say too? I was thinking, uh, Hillary's husband, he cheated on her with a blonde, and of course, in that time, it's like kind of like a man wanting another something better. Like he found something better in her. It's like a step. She's like a step up from Hillary. Of course I don't think that, but that's how it kind of made it seem. So it's like this idea of like I don't know. I guess men. He just wasn't satisfied. I feel like men will never be satisfied.
Yeah, and I think getting back to her relationship with her father, I think the reason that Hillary even picked that guy was because of her father. Didn't her
Yeah.
father like
Liked
basically
him.
tell her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her father's lawyer, the
Yeah.
husband.
He basically like told her like, "Oh, well, this is my guy." Like kind of I don't want to say force them to be together, but definitely like
This is
it
my
was just
last dying wish for you to marry
right.
this man.
And they
And
didn't even
then
like each other for real. And he
yeah, and
definitely didn't like Hillary.
Hillary, like, he was like, there's not enough room for two of us to be lawyers. So Hillary had to, like, give up her life,
Oh, I
her, like,
forgot about that.
career.
The whole thing. Oh my god. And I know we just talked about this when we covered Mona Lisa's Smile, but again, that's another big recurring theme of female characters in movies and movies that we've talked about on this show. I hate to see a bad bitch get taken down. Like she was a hotshot lawyer working for the ACLU, like saving lives, like nationally renowned lawyer. And she meets this fucking guy and she's like, guess I'll just give it up and stay at home now. I was like, God, that shit kills me. It's so hard.
And she
It's
was
so hard
even
for me to
turning
like,
into him, like, when they went to go see Cece at
she
her
was
play.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, this isn't even the woman that we've experienced this whole movie. She was kind of, like, morphing into him, and it's just, like, just not I mean, and also too, it's like you were talking earlier about, like, the like, the financial just difference, and, like, Cece was new money, and you could see that, and, like, these big red, like, kind of, like, crazy paintings and
Oh, that
furniture.
apartment was so
It was so
tacky. Yeah.
ugly, but it's
I
like,
hated the red walls.
Hated
yes.
it. Oh my
Hated
god.
it.
I think that was, like, the point of it, to be ugly, to show, like, she has all this money, she doesn't know what to do with herself. It's like what she's been working to her whole life, and she's just been throwing things at the wall and see whatever hits.
Yeah.
And, like, Hillary, of course, is like, this just is not, like, she just was turning into that guy, and it was just, like, obvious that they were not a good pair. And also too, like, it's easier said than done, but I don't know. For me, I mean, this girl's been your best friend for, like, years, and then you have your husband just talking shit about her, and you're just like, "Oh, like, I totally agree." Like, you haven't been, like, you haven't known this girl since you're 11, and she's been, like, you live with her at one point, and all of a
Yup.
sudden
She
it's
took
just
you
like,
in off the street and you're like
literally
dogging her. Yeah.
crazy.
That's such a red flag in a friendship. If I'm friends with someone, all of a sudden they switch up like that because they get a boyfriend, I'm like, oh, we will never be close again.
No.
Because I can't trust you.
That was crazy to me. I was like, wow, Hillary. I mean, you're really showing. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily her true colors. I think it was just where she was at that stage in her life. And I think, too, she wasn't happy with that guy. She wasn't happy with him. And so, like,
Oh, from the
she was just,
beginning.
yeah, she was just, once again, which is with a lot of people, and me, myself, too. Sometimes when you're not happy with yourself, you project onto others.
For
And
sure.
I think that's definitely what it was giving.
She also Hillary didn't even invite Cece to her damn wedding.
That was strange. I was like, that was very weird.
That was fucked up.
Maybe it was more like they didn't want to put time and money into a wedding scene, so they're like, we're just gonna pretend like that, just whatever.
Yeah. It was the budget. It was budgetary reasons, not story reasons. Sure.
I think
Let's
I think Hillary, like, when Hillary went and visited Cece for a show, she was extremely envious of, like, what Hillary or Cece had kind of put
Become.
together for herself,
Hmm.
and especially because she was with John. And yeah, and then that kind of turned into the argument at the jewelry shop.
I think you're right. Even though Hillary came from so much wealth and privilege and never wanted for anything her whole life, she still had that jealousy for sure. I think it was you who had put it in the notes, Hayden, but there was definitely a lot of jealousy between the both of them,
Yeah.
you know. So it definitely manifested itself in interesting ways throughout. I love that fight in the department store as well, by the way. I definitely have gotten into like massive disagreements either like with a family member or with a friend at like the most inconvenient, you're like in the middle of Macy's, like
We're doing this right now. Like, we're doing this. Okay, we're doing it.
not here, like shut up. You're like fighting through your gritted teeth and you're like And then, of course, that's when an attendant will come over like
Yeah.
15 times and be like, do you need anything? I'm like, get the fuck away from me. No, I don't need anything. We're about to fight in this parking lot the
Literally.
second we leave the store.
No, I was just gonna say, I think Hillary so badly just wanted to come back to New York, but I think because she did feel so tied to her like family obligations, she didn't. And then she just like, yeah, fell right back into that same pattern. And I think like her visiting Cece, she was just reminded of like what she kind of had.
Mm-hmm. Or could have
what
been a
she,
part
like,
of.
left. Yeah, what she like left to have to go back and take care of her dad for.
She was seeing what her and Cece basically could have built together if she had stayed, if she could have stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think not inviting her to the wedding was very fucked up, but I mean, that's just me personally. Yeah, so Cece
She should have been
never
a freaking the maid of honor. I mean,
right.
Do you think that Hillary would have just been so ashamed of
maybe.
like the wedding itself, she wouldn't want Cece to like see it?
I think there was maybe a twinge of that, or like sometimes brides will start pulling away and acting really weird because they know deep down they're not supposed to be marrying this guy, and you know, they don't want people in their lives to be like, you know, this is not the right thing to do. I feel like maybe she knew. I feel like Hillary always knew she wasn't supposed to be with that guy, and Cece definitely would have called her out on it. And she didn't want that. She just wanted to take the easy way out and just get married and sit at home in her mansion and like do basically, even though he was gone, she was still doing what her father wanted her to do. You know, she still had like no autonomy at all, like throughout the story until we basically get to the divorce scene and her finding out she's pregnant and like deciding to leave him. But up until, my God, she's like 30 by that point, by the time she's like ever gotten to be her own person and like stuck with it, you know? That's so sad. Hillary was very conditioned to just do what everyone else is telling her to do. And again, it reminds me of what we talked about in Pride and Prejudice, Lindsey, with like just having to, at that time, like all those women had to live their lives basically dependent on whatever the man in their lives wanted them to do and wanted them to be. And Hillary is still, even though she didn't have to, she's still repeating that same pattern of like, well, this guy told me I'm pretty, so I guess I'll marry him. And oh, my dad says I should be a lawyer, so I guess I'll go to law school. And you know, it's just
it's really telling of that generational gap of like just not being able to like be a woman and know you can like let go of this and like carry out how you want to as an adult.
I think age-wise, they're both boomers, right? They must be because they're in their like
they've got to be.
Yeah, they're however old they are when they get
old
to
as
the
dust, man. I'm
Yeah.
joking.
Oh my God, Hayden, Jesus.
I'm joking. That's what Lindsey made me feel like. She's like, they've got to be, like, they have to be.
Oh, they're definitely boomers.
Yeah, it's Jesus. But that culture of womanhood was it's still. I mean, we're still seeing it like nowadays with like younger women, and that shit really makes me mad when I see people in their like early 20s being like, oh well, this guy said that. I'm like, why are you even listening to a man? We we have the internet.
Why are you in your early 20s married? That's the first mistake.
So big mistake. It's like you're repeating those same patterns that like your mom, your grandmother, your great grandmother, your great great grandmother. It's just you're going through that familial.
I feel like women were just conditioned. I think we're conditioned to like want a partner. Even like in movies, like we watch these movies about these women who are, you know, princesses who find these amazing, attractive men. But I think sometimes too we forget that we just don't want any man. We want a man that loves you, respects you,
Period.
takes
Period.
care
It
of
doesn't have to
you.
be any guy.
You just like you said, like it's just be like,
It
well,
could
he
be
thinks I'm pretty,
the right
so
guy.
right. And I think it's hard. I think it's hard sometimes because sometimes I feel like we see things in like a whole, especially being relatively younger. It's like, well, is this the best it can get? But then it's like a scarcity. Like you're scared that another person won't come. And so you're like, well, I'll
Yeah.
just pull my claws into this one in hopes that they'll do better. They'll do better by me. And then it's like, no, girl, like you can it won't this won't be the last person to enter your life, you know.
Yes, and that's how Cece and Hillary both behaved in their first marriages. Yeah, just that. Oh well, here's someone who he's good enough.
I think
I guess.
having female friendships like Cece and Hillary is how we break the cycle of getting married too early. Like if they would have stayed with one another and like essentially built a life together out of like friendship, neither of them would have gotten married. Well, I
I
won't
think
say
she
that,
still would
but
have tried to go for John. I think she
yeah.
still would have, but at least Hillary wouldn't have been with some random guy who
Yeah, and I think Hillary would have been happier exploring her life with Cece.
100%. Yeah, I felt like she took. I mean, it was a friendship breakup. I felt like she took that breakup harder than her divorce
Yeah.
when she moves back to the West Coast and they're not roommates anymore. Yeah. Can we talk about the slight homoeroticism that's that's going on in this movie? I can't tell if it's more so on Cece's side or on Hillary's side, but do either of you pick up on a vibe of like they're actually just in love with each other?
I think like I just think they were really good friends. Like I think sometimes as women like we push like the only type of romance you can have is like female male, but like I think they were just and they were in love with each other, but not like I want to have sex with you in love. Like I love you as a person and like you're amazing. Like she wasn't like you said, like she was in all of her on the stage and like she was amazed by like how talented she is. Like I don't think they were like into each other sexually, just more of like I'm into you because of crazy, because of who you are. Like you're so magnetic and like beautiful person and I see like how amazing you are. Kind of like the like how we want for men. Like it's almost like what we want men to see us as is crazy. It's like maybe like all this what we are searching for in men, like they found each other, but in a romantic friendship, not necessarily they don't have sex with each other. I don't
That's
know.
yeah, I totally agree. I think that's very you're onto something there. The wanting that I mean if you're straight obviously, wanting that from men but finding it in other women
Mhm.
and then realizing it's better or more fulfilling
Yeah.
long term and more stable and more grounding and more it builds you up in a different way like that close female connection. um yeah, they are. I think they are each other's like first loves, even
Mhm.
if it's not like in a sexual way, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lindsay?
Well, I think it's so important to like distinguish that love doesn't have to just exist romantically, and this is like such a nice example of platonic love. And I don't say this often, but I actually don't think that I picked up on any like secret, like closeted behavior. I think they truly were just best friends in love with each other. But it doesn't have to be romantic.
Yeah, the only reason I bring it up is because the when they were first living together, um, and it's the night that Hillary hooked up with John, and Cece's reaction was it. uh, Obviously, she had a thing for John, and she was jealous on that level that Hillary had basically like stolen her man a little bit. But there was also something that just read to me like, no, I'm jealous because he got to be with you. Uh, there was just something
Mm.
in that scene. It's just like I couldn't tell in that moment if Cece was more jealous of John or Hillary, basically. Just thought it was worth asking.
I mean, probably both.
I'm just a little creep. I'm like, oh, there has to be something going on here. So, but I didn't notice it in this movie.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So Hayden, who were some of your favorite performances?
I really liked, kind of like we were talking about, when she had that big scene at the play. I didn't understand it, but like I just have like I am the captain just stuck in my head, like with the mask and like the whole turning and stuff. I don't know. I thought that was really, really cool.
Someone said it was very much like Rocky Horror.
Oh, that was me. Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the mechanical heart music
Yeah.
sequence. Yeah. I think we had just seen Rocky Horror and then I had watched this probably a day or two later. Um I love this is one of my favorite things that gets to happen in movies is when there's like a fake play or like a fake movie within a movie or a fake like music group. So this fake performance, like this play, the Mechanical Heart sequence, that Cece does, pretty like right before she hits it really big. I just loved it. One of my favorite performers in this movie is I spoke about her a little bit earlier, but Cece's mother. That's Lainey Kazan, and she is fantastic, a New York legend. She is also the mother in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And she's
Ah.
yeah, and she's just so good as a smothering like Jewish mother. She's perfect. She's very like you said, she's a little harsh, she's passionate, she cares a lot, but she's also like boundaries. Like, listen, you got to get out of my face, Cece. You're doing too much. Um, like I gave and gave and gave and gave to you for decades. Like I'm gonna go move to Florida and and have my life on the beach and not worry about whatever you're into up there. So yeah, Lainey Kazan was probably my favorite of the out of the main the or sorry out of the secondary cast. I love her in this movie.
My favorite secondary cast performance is Pouncer, the cat. when I when I was younger, I when I first like saw Pouncer, I was like, wow, that is such a good cat name. And I think I was convinced whenever I was gonna adopt a cat, I would name them Pouncer, but I did not. But I think it sticked with me and my love for
Aw.
cats.
I didn't realize you guys were talking about like when you said performances, you're talking about the actual actors themselves.
I
But
know I should have.
no, you're good. But that I don't know if you guys noticed. I realized I was like the guy who married Cece is Joe from Princess Diaries. The guy who's their like chauffeur who ends up marrying.
Yeah.
Gosh, I didn't realize that, and I did a double take. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Joe, and it's probably I guess one of his earlier acting gigs he did.
Yeah, he's super, super young in this. I had never noticed before. Obviously, I hadn't seen this in probably 25 years, and I hadn't seen Princess Diaries either until like last year,
Mm.
maybe 2 years ago. So I knew him from, I want to say ER. He was like a big, big, big
Oh.
TV star when I was a kid.
Oh.
Almost positive he was on ER with George Clooney, like in
Oh
that
wow.
era. Yeah, I'm gonna double check that. But Hector Elizondo was like a huge like TV star when I was a kid, but I didn't connect the dots that he was in Beaches like ever. So great pull there.
He does a lot of things like that. Like he pops up a lot randomly, I've noticed, but I can't think of any.
That's so crazy how we have the just like you were saying earlier, like just the age difference. You're like, oh, I knew him from ER, and I'm like, oh, he's from the Princess Diaries. Like that's the only that's the only connection I have to him. But that's crazy. I didn't realize he was such a huge actor
Yeah,
prior.
yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Sorry, not ER. It was the Chicago version of ER. It's called
Uh,
Chicago Hope.
oh, okay.
Oh.
Chicago Hope. So it was like the CBS version of ER. He was huge, huge star on that show.
Wow.
He's also in Pretty Woman, which I've never seen.
I have
Yes,
not
he is in
either.
Pretty Women. Really? Neither of you?
So
I've never seen
embarrassing.
Pretty
Wow.
Woman. Yeah, I'm getting to it. It's
Wow.
I'll cross it off my list this year. Oh my god, this year is the 35th anniversary.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe we should do that for the show. Oh my god. He's also in Runaway Bride. Um,
Yes. Wait,
he
who does he
he
play?
works with Julia Roberts a lot, it seems.
I don't know if you guys loved Victoria as much as me, but she was my favorite character.
really?
I
Yeah, and
didn't, but speak on it.
really? Okay. I loved how as soon as she was born, Cece was like, "Oh, she's so smart." And then like as the movie progresses, you see how smart she is
Mm.
and how much she's so much like her mother and also kind of like Cece and just so sassy.
She's a good mix of both.
Why don't you like her though?
Because she's kind of an asshole. Like,
She
she's
is
fucking
she is an
rude.
asshole.
I don't like when little kids are like super disrespectful to like adults and just be like saying like out of pocket things with like no recourse. Like, I felt like Victoria was a little mouth. She was really mean to Cece. Like, and at this point, she doesn't know obviously that her mother is sick, but like Cece is literally like trying to save your life. Like, you dummy. Like, your mom can't even like get up and walk or like cook for you right now. This woman is feeding you, taking care of you, like playing with you all day, every day, taking care of your cat, like driving you everywhere. And she was just dogging Cece like nonstop. I was like, girl, you were being so fucking rude. And I do like that there was a good like back and forth where like Cece got a little more comfortable with her eventually, and she was like, "Girl, shut the fuck up! Like, I can't. Like, you're talking to me crazy." So yeah, she just got on my nerves, but also she was like a little kid. That's
Do
little kids
you
get on my nerves.
do you think she knew that or you don't think she knew that Hillary was dying or that her mom was dying?
I don't think so.
No,
Oh wow.
Maybe towards the end,
For
but
me, I kind of felt that she was pretty like knowing that Hillary was sick and because of that is why she was having so much like issues with the transition at the beach house.
she
But
knew she was sick. When is that hospital scene? The first time that Hillary is in the hospital, remember Victoria's not there and she told her aunt don't bring her here. So like she was hiding it from her. She did not
mm,
know at first that she was sick.
oh wow.
Um and then it got worse and worse and worse and eventually she knew, but when Cece first came on the trip with them, I don't think Victoria knew that Hillary was sick at that time. She was just remember because
Mm,
she was complaining like, "Oh, well, you can't drive, well, you can't do this, you can't do that." Like she was like mad at her
yeah,
because she was like, "I thought it was just going to be the two of us. Like, why is this lady coming?" And she's so mean to her.
I guess to me that was it felt to me just like Victoria like deep down knowing that something is wrong. So she's like trying to reject it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Um that's a possibility. I mean, kids are smart, but it just there wasn't really any indication to me that she was like, "Oh, my mother is dying,"
Mhm.
um until that like last hospital trip, I think, where she brought her in and was like, "Hey, listen, I don't have much longer." But I could be wrong. We'll definitely watch it again, or you can email us and let us know what you think.
I think too. What I think towards the end, it was like obvious physically, like Hillary looked sick. So maybe towards the end she knew, but I don't think in the beginning she was really aware. I think kind of like, it was like kind of strange because she was like, okay, who's this new lady that's like popped into our lives? Like she's been here like in the background, but now she's like here often, mom. Like what is going on?
Mhm.
Probably, like you said, Lindsay, too, like a confusing time for her. Like she knew something was up, but maybe not 100%. And it goes from like your mom being like your everything to like her slowly backing out of your life. And then you have this random lady who's like your mom's best friend. Okay. And it's like,
Yeah.
where's why are you trying to be my mom now? Like you're not my mom.
Yeah, exactly. So for extras, of course there's a lot of soundtrack things we need to get into and any technical aspects or fun facts about the movie that y'all know off the top of your head or that you had researched before the episode. I'll start. So, Wind Beneath My Wings, again, I'm showing my age. Y'all wasn't outside when this was when this song was popping for real. This song was on the radio for like 4 years straight. This
Really?
was like,
Wow.
imagine, oh my god, you weren't born when Titanic came out either. Jesus Christ.
But
So
we felt it a little bit. We felt it a little
okay,
bit. Titanic, yeah.
you were in the after
Yeah, the
effects of the
aftershock,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes. So imagine like this was like the Titanic of my
Oh
era
wow.
as far as like the soundtrack and that theme song just being everywhere on the radio constantly. This ballad was ballading. Wind Beneath My Wings is like a peak late 80s early 90s ballad. It won the Grammy for Record of the Year and Song of the Year.
Wow.
Yeah. Um so that's I just want to point out how for like 80s and 90s kids this song was huge. Again, like a mom classic, I feel. And the house where they shot all of the beach scenes is still standing.
Oh
I
wow.
found the beach house. It is in Newport Beach, California, which is where the OC takes place.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's a real OC Newport Beach property. It's in the Crystal Cove district. If anyone is around that area and wants to go see it, I love that house.
it's
Um,
such a beautiful house.
it's beautiful.
That's like my ideal, like, because beach houses in North Carolina over here, they do not look like that.
No, but you and I, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's kind of related. Lindsay and I take a beach trip every year with
Oh.
one of our best, yeah, with one of our best friends. We're about to go on our third beach trip.
Oh my gosh.
3 years, baby. Um, and you and Kate are both really good at finding really nice beach houses for us. I feel like we're two for two. The one Kate found this year looks gorgeous as well. So I think y'all are doing all right as far as we got some good beaches in North Carolina and some really beautiful houses. It's just a little different. But yeah, we are, oh my god, are we living out like beaches without all the like sad shit?
Kind of, kind of. No one get any like
Yeah.
heart issues or anything. Also,
Oh God.
too, I was gonna say I looked up like her what she died from. Apparently, it's not curable now, but you can definitely. Back then, I guess it was like a death sentence, but now it's you can live with it or you can get medicine for it or something. I read.
Really? Yeah, I that's good research. The that disease like scared the hell out of me because I mean obviously the heart is susceptible to like bacteria or virus or viral infections, whatever was going on. But I was like, oh, she's just like not gonna get better because of a what was it, an infection?
It was a, yeah, it was a virus.
A
Like
viral
a
heart?
virus in
Yeah.
the heart.
Dude, I was like, you can die from that?
I always thought it was
No,
cancer.
yeah. Yeah, that blew me. I thought it was cancer too when I was a little kid or like throughout my years. And then when I rewatched it this time, I was like, "Oh, it's such a specific illness." And I
It
think that makes
is.
it even more like scary cuz it's like what if I just catch a random virus one day and like my fucking heart stops? Like what?
I know, because she was like, and I can't get rid of this flu that I've had. But then
Mm.
it turns out to be a deadly heart virus.
It's not the flu. Oh my god, yeah, that had me stressed. Yeah. So my last fun fact was that I didn't know this. There's a 2017 remake with Idina Menzel, who is
Yeah.
Elphaba in the original Wicked, and Nia Long, who is a fucking legend. You probably know her from Friday. Um,
There's a Beaches remake?
yes, yeah, 2017. And
Wow.
I'm assuming Idina Menzel probably redid "When Beneath My Wings."
I'm sure that's amazing.
Right. Yeah, she can sing her ass off. And also, besides Wicked, she obviously is in the original cast of Rent, and she is most notably in Frozen. Um, but I don't remember what character she plays.
The
Who is she in
one and
Frozen?
only she's
She plays Elsa in Frozen.
That's what it was. Yeah, I could not remember, but I know everyone younger knows her from Frozen. But
She's
yeah,
in Enchanted too.
I've never
She
seen Enchanted.
She
And
plays the
then,
girlfriend in the older one.
Yeah, I've never seen Enchanted either, but it's been on my list for a while. I might check that out. So yeah, just wanted to put out there is a remake. Have any of us seen it?
I saw
Nope.
commercials for it because it's a TV movie. I caught bits and
Yeah,
pieces. I don't know. I think some things just don't need to be remade, guys. But both of
I
those,
agree with you.
I'm on board.
but I mean, I maybe I should give it a shot. But I think from the bits and pieces I saw, I was like, this just doesn't. I think too, like because it's nostalgia for me. So like watching the first, even like watching this now versus then, I'm like, I could see why I really really liked it, but like I don't know, I just have like this filter from the past of like how amazing it was then to now. I'm like, it's a good movie, but um I just don't think it
Oh, of course.
connects. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sometimes sad. I talk to Lindsay about this a lot when I look at things that I loved when I was like really young and now that I'm like in my late 30s and I go back and look at them and I'm like, "Oh,
Wasn't that
it's
good?
just
Yeah.
all right."
Yeah, it was just all right.
It's the
It's
memory that
fine.
I love, I think, more than the actual
Yeah,
experience.
or who you were at the time that you saw
Very
it.
true.
One thing I did want to mention is I guess both of the Glory of Love performances, but specifically like the difference between the one in the beginning versus the one at the end, and kind of like Cece's actual progression as a performer. Because outside of like all of I guess, her life, and maybe her performances every now and again, we didn't really get like an update version of like how her career was progressing. Like it would kind of just update like, oh, now she has a Tony. Now she's like married in this amazing penthouse. And then at the very end it's Glory of Love, but kind of like scrapped and much more like softer and beautiful. And it really seemed like just like Cece stepping into her like wisdom.
Yeah, I love that musical connection of the first time we hear it to the last time we hear it. And you pointed it out, Lindsay, earlier, the way that she's singing it to, oh my God, I'm going to cry too. She's singing it to Hillary when
The
she's,
first time,
yeah, and then she's
and then
singing
to
it.
Victoria at the
Oh,
end.
oh my fucking God. It's so beautiful. I love that part. Um, I love that song and how it comes back throughout the movie.
Kind of going back a little bit, Marquita, when you were talking about Wind Beneath My Wings, I think that's when I cried. Like the ending credits, and like I hear that song, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Like I guess I just fully understanding what I just experienced and watching the movie, and just being like, you are the wind beneath my wings. Like it's just like the
Right?
perfect
Oh, that was like
song to end it.
the best friend song
Yes.
of the like late 80s, early 90s. That used to play at like, oh God, it used to play at like weddings, used to play at
Wow.
funerals, big funeral song. Like anytime like there was something like super dramatic in like a friendship or in like a woman's life, Wind Beneath My Wings, that one.
And it's so crazy. Like, obviously, it's such a good song because, like, I didn't even understand. I didn't know how popular it was before, but even just hearing it as like a 12-year-old, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. It just proves that it's a good quality song. I wasn't like taken into the hype. Like, I've never heard it before. And just hearing it in my own personal experience, sometimes I wonder, like, if I was born in like a white box, what would I actually like? You know, like what
Oh, for sure.
experiences would I
Yeah.
actually enjoy versus like hearing others and creating opinions off of there. But like that's a good case of like never experiencing it and just having enjoying like this is a quality song.
That's so cool to hear that it was still like effective even for you like decades later.
Mhm.
That's so cool. Yeah, the that song was basically just dragging and dragging and dragging probably until I remember it when I was really little being on the radio all the time. So I want to say the song that like the ballad that like took it over was Whitney Houston. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, her version of it.
Oh, that's in The Bodyguard? That's where that came from?
Yes, that's
Oh,
from
I've
The
never seen The
Bodyguard.
Bodyguard.
I
I
just saw it for
know.
the first time like 2 years ago. Oh my god, Kevin Costner in that movie. Wow. Powerful.
Wow, in
Really?
a good way? In a good way?
Yes, they had a thing going. Like they're
I've heard about that. I believe it.
oh yeah. It's palpable. I was like, "Oh, he is like in love with her. Like for real, for real." Like, oh my god, the way he looks at her in that movie, 10 out of 10. But anyway, I Will Always Love You finally like killed Wind Beneath My Wings in the like early 90s, but this song was cannot express to you how big the song was. And then late 90s of course was My Heart Will Go On.
Yeah.
So we've always had like every couple years like a huge ballad like that that's like taken over pop culture. So for a little while, yes, it was this one.
So to tie things up, what I guess most affected us and what emotions did we kind of draw from this? Hayden, you go first.
I think like kind of circling from the beginning, it's like the ups and downs of life and like experiencing love, platonic and romantic, experiencing jealousy, experiencing like admiration, like just the different types of feelings that you feel when you're living life with someone. And even though like they weren't together the whole time, they were still living life with someone, whether it was like John or Hillary's boyfriend or each other. Like you were seeing just different experiences and like how that made them as people. I thought that was really cool. Like you really got to grow up with them in a way, and maybe that's why you felt so connected to them.
Yeah. Wow.
Growing up together is like a big theme for me. And that's something that always affects me about stories like this. Something specifically that really moved me this time. The At the end of the movie, there's just like you see Cece packing up all of Victoria's things and all of Hillary's things and emptying out the house to get ready to take Victoria with her after Hillary passes away. And you see every single letter
Hmm.
that Hillary and Cece had written each other. Hillary had all of Cece's letters from the time they were 11 years old until the day she died. Um, um, I just think it's so beautiful. They even in the times where they weren't speaking, they were still always connected, you know, and she never lost her love for her friend. And now Victoria is gonna have those letters and see who her mother was when
Mm-hmm.
she was her age and see that friendship that she had with Cece and that connection. Yeah, so for some reason that like broke me was seeing just those mountains of envelopes. Those like, oh my god, it's all of her letters and she kept them. Oh, whew, that was so special.
And she also kept like the the original photo booth photos, and then Victoria found them at the end. That was right before Hillary died.
And she framed it. She had the framed photo booth photos from the
Yeah.
boardwalk that first
Hmm.
day they met. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, this movie is truly devastating. It's such a beautiful watch, but it's pretty hard, especially towards the end. There's also a lot of dry humor. I really like the humor in the movie.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely like threaded the needle so it wasn't always so down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the just going off what you were saying, Lindsay. I like the one of the jokes, and she was like, she's Cece was talking about her mom. She was like, she's no woman, she's my mother. Like that was funny.
Yeah, and there was the one scene where when they were having an argument and she was like, "What's yodeling got to do with it?" I love that scene.
Yeah, there was
So
definitely
silly.
like really refreshing humor here and there, and Gary Marshall is like a master of this. He knows how to like get the tone right where you're like your heart is touched, but you're also like uplifted in some way, or just like it's very like reaffirming. So yeah, I put that it was like heartbreaking, but it just makes you appreciate your friends and your memories together so much more, and carrying on your friends memories through their children and through other people in your lives that you bring along the way. I love that.
So, well, it seems like Marquita has a lot of the recommendations for the movie. I had a hard time thinking of some, but
She
I'm
picked
glad
all
you
the
have
good
so
ones.
many.
I was like, Steel Magnolias. I was like, dang it.
Of course.
That was like perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went a little ham on the recommendations, but there's just so many movies like this or that give me that same feeling. I was just like I was on a tear. But so yeah, some recommendations for similar work, movies with similar themes. I had Steel Magnolias, of course, Terms of Endearment, Fried Green Tomatoes. Highly, highly, highly recommend if either of you haven't seen that one. Um, Riding in Cars with Boys, First Wives Club, which is also Bette Midler, Now and Then, which is a amazing like lifelong girlhood friendship movie from the 90s, and A League of Their Own, which Gary's sister Penny directed. So another Marshall directed, touching female led drama comedy.
I just recently saw Steel Magnolias for the first time ever, like within the past year or two. Also devastating.
Very
But
much so.
but
Yeah.
this time we get Julia Roberts, which is really fun.
Yeah, baby Julia Roberts. It was like her second or third movie ever. She was, I want to say, in her late teens when she made that,
Oh,
maybe
wow.
early 20s. Yeah, very, very young. Pre Pretty Woman, pre all her. Yeah, she's. Aw. Oh my God. Yeah, Steel Magnolias will break me pretty
Tear
much
you
anytime.
apart.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've watched it all the way through, but like I don't know, I guess I've heard like the overlying themes. So I was like, "Oh, that'd be a good one." But maybe I need to watch that today.
Oh, only if you're prepared for it.
Oh, well maybe not. I want to start my week off good. I don't want to be
Yeah.
emotional.
It's a good like movie. It's a good cry movie if
Uh
when you're looking to cry and you're like ready for it, when you're ready to receive the gift of bitter tears.
For our next episode, we are going to be watching Diary of a Teenage Girl, and our guest will be Mary Arndt.
Yeah, and her podcast is called I Just Wanna Chat.
Well, thanks for having me, friends. This has been super fun. The time went by really fast.
Good, good. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you for coming on,
Yeah.
and thank you for suggesting, without even realizing it, suggesting yet another movie where we're talking about the joy and agony of womanhood. So
Yes,
Like I
that's our
said, it's so crazy
never-ending
we've all had
theme.
this experience or this experience
yep,
with this movie personally and thinking it's our own,
universal.
yeah, it's our own little bubble, but
Yeah.
I'm the only one who knows beaches. So thank you for coming on, Hayden.
thank you.
Thank you, Lindsey. And thank everybody for listening. If you would like to email us, we are at postfilmclaritypod@gmail.com. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at postfilmclaritypod. You can follow us on Letterboxd at postfilmclarity. And I haven't been mentioning it, but I guess I should start saying it. The YouTube versions of all of our episodes are available with closed captions for hearing impaired listeners. So if you need transcripts, subtitles, anything for accessibility, our whole YouTube channel is accessibility friendly. Thanks again for listening, and bye, honeys.